Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm happy to be with you today. Here I'm in the midst of a week of sharing some random scriptures. And I have one today from Romans chapter 13. Just a couple of verses here, beginning with verse 8. Owe nothing to anyone except for your obligation to love one another. If you love your neighbor, you will fulfill the requirements of God's law. For the commandments say, you must not commit adultery, you must not murder, you must not steal, you must not covet. These and other such commandments are summed up in this one commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to others, so love fulfills the requirements of God's law. Well, I've heard this scripture applied to lots of things. And one of them that's common is the financial recommendation that you should never borrow money. Well, in Jesus's day, that made a lot of sense. In our day, it probably does too, but not everybody can get to that place financially. And I don't want to heap coals of putting you down and coals of telling you how terrible you are if you owe money. I don't think that's what this passage is about anyway. Uh, but I would just say if you owe money, try to get out of it so you won't owe any more money and life will be a lot simpler. I can assure you that one. But it says to owe nobody anything except. See, there's an exception here. There is something you're supposed to owe. And the exception is except for your obligation to love one another. Now, a couple of key words here. One is obligation. This is not a suggestion. It's not an option. It's not a possibility if you can make it work out. It is an obligation. If you have invited the Lord into your life, then you are obligated or you are commanded to love one another. I know that can be hard. And if you mess up, well, okay, we all mess up. But the point is that you are working towards loving one another. Just that's the bottom line. That's what we have to do, whether we like it or not. And that's not one of these, ho, right, I'll love you. Yeah, a spoiled teenager does. All right, I'll go along. No. It's I get to love you, regardless of whether you're lovable or not. Now, how in the world does that make any sense? Well, Paul tells us how it makes sense. He says here, for the commandments say, the 10 Commandments. Maybe you've read them. Maybe it's been a long time. A research project recently found out that even those who go to church usually can't name all of them. In fact, the highest number that people typically could name is 4. But we'll talk about that another time. So he says, in the commandments, you must not commit adultery, you must not murder, you must not steal, you must not covet. Well, I think those are pretty well self-explanatory. If you're having trouble with them, well, look them up on Google and they'll make it pretty clear to you. But then Paul goes on to say this simple phrase, These, those four, and other like ones are summed up in the one commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. Now, there are two pieces to this summary commandment. One is you have to love. That means you wish the best, you don't wish harm, you hope they succeed, you help them if they fail, you respect them even if you disagree with them, and you genuinely want the best for them. But it also says to love them as you love yourself. Now, here's the kicker: many people don't love themselves. And maybe you're saying, oh, that doesn't make sense. Well, it does. Many people look at themselves and put themselves down before saying another word. Occasionally, as a pastor, I've asked people to share something in the service. And the most common response I get is, oh, I can't stand up in front of people. The second comment I get is, well, I don't have anything to share. Well, neither one of those are probably true. I know a lot of people have trouble speaking out in public. I understand that. I've done it for so long, it doesn't affect me at all. But I know there are some who do. And I grant you that it's hard. But lots of things that are worth doing are hard. And the second one, I don't have anything to share. That is absolutely untrue. Every one of us who have put our hand in the hand of Jesus to walk in this life has something to share in order to encourage someone else, in order to show God's love for them. If you're one of those who put yourself down all the time, I have a suggestion. Stop. Yeah, that's right. Stop. I don't want to hear the excuses. And you know what? God doesn't either. Whether we have a little or a lot, we have something to demonstrate love for others with. And we have something to encourage others who may not be anywhere near as far along in life as you are. So don't owe anybody anything, but care for them and love them. Love them as you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, start working on it so you got something to share. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a really, really great day. If there's something that we can help you with, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll be back tomorrow as I share another thought.